I have this really interesting thing to talk to you about today. I'm just going to click on this welcome back, everybody thing. There we go. So here we are, Thursday. And in my little corner of the world, the sun is shining. It's not as warm as it has been. However, it's going to warm up through the day. And that's a good thing. Not too hot, not too cold, just. So I had a couple of ahas the last couple of days because in the aftermath of doing an event where many hands make light the work, you start getting really good feedback. You start getting feedback from people who invested their time and their attention and their care in the outcome, the group outcome, which is wonderful because, it doesn't matter how fast you move. You can only see the room from your set of eyes. And so to have other sets of eyes that were looking at the same time is brilliant. And so I'm talking to my collaborators and contributors and some of the people who stopped by and said, "Oh my God, this is so much fun." And I began to see something that I think I knew, but I hadn't really focused on it. And then I was having an amazing conversation with a really, really incredible friend. And it sort of hit me bonk right on the top of the head that I need to talk about this today. So it's a form of cause and effect. And what I decided to call it, this is episode 176, by the way, yay. And we have 285 subscribers on YouTube, as well as all you incredible people here on Facebook. And it's just cool. So here was the conversation. I don't know why so-and-so keeps doing this. I'm trying to help. That's a conversation. That's the essence of the conversation. The other conversations about the booth were everybody was there for the same reason. And how rare that is. And I said to myself, yeah, no, they weren't. They weren't there for the same what. They were there for the same why. Same with my friend. I don't know why so-and-so does such and such. It's not what they're doing. It's why they're doing it. And I get myself caught up way too often when I'm working with a client, thinking that if I can just get them to see the bigger picture as I can see it, the entire agony of getting through the creative process will be much easier on them. And I have to keep reminding myself that they're not in this for the reason I'm in it. They have a whole other set of standards and what ifs and outcomes, and they are triggered. This is the big thing, They are triggered by different things than I am. They have to be. We're not clones. We're not in lockstep. And even if we were in lockstep, we're still not entirely seeing from exactly the same point of view. So I have three female friends who are fitness nuts. And by that, I don't mean it in a derogatory way. I mean it in the way that you look at worlds of wonder and say, what is that? So one of them is yoga. Another one is extreme hiking and falling down and running in circles and paddling crazily and standing on top of things. And the other one is just out there all the time, every day, getting fresh air. And I say to myself, except for that, we're so alike. Where did that come from? These are my alter egos. Why are they all? Why is the one thing that is really different about us the fact that they're into fitness? How did that happen? And I was laughing and I thought, oh yeah, but when I listen to them talking about what it gives them, each thing that they are besotted by, each thing, I'm hearing the thing I say, when I am, oh, that's amazing. Oh, yes, that's fabulous. It's triggering the same outcome. It's just not coming from the same place. So I have another friend who is challenged by a relative who is difficult. We all have difficult relatives. And the continuing comment is, if only they would just do this. And I, we all agree. We all agree with that. If only they would just do this, or if only they would just stop that. If only they'd stop humming. Everyone in my life has said, if only you would stop singing. So I said, okay, fine. It appears to be a consensus. I'll stop singing. And what they're really saying is, how whatever it is you're doing makes me feel is what I don't like. It's how it makes me feel that is the problem. Okay, so it isn't the what, it's the why. All right, what don't you like? The sound of your singing? The sound? Oh, that. But you wouldn't mind if you couldn't hear me. Well, that's the problem, Abby. We can hear you, and we'd really... So here's the thing. As we are discovering that we have the ability to shift the way we feel, and we have the ability to reach in for the part of us we learned to be in times like this, we can only do that if we let go of our expectations of other people. We can't focus on shifting us to feel better, safer, taller, happier, empowered, whatever it is that we are seeking. We can't lean in and get there if our focus, if our attention, if our energy is somewhere else. We can't say, and we can say it, but it's not going to work. My happiness is dependent on their behavior. It isn't. It isn't. We're not hostage to anyone. We're not hostage to anyone else's behavior unless we choose to be. Unless we choose to say, my time is not my own. I have no choice. I'm stuck here. If we choose to say that, it's true. If we say, I am willing to make this happen in order to achieve my goal, I'm not hostage to whatever it is I'm doing. I'm choosing to do it. I'm choosing. So in my situation, in my real life situation, once upon a time, I was in a place where I had made career decisions that exploded and fell apart. And in the aftermath, I didn't have the resources that I'd had before. I'd made a decision to start a project, and I had talked to the people around me, and I'd said, I'm going to start this project. And they all said, yay. And I said, and when the project is over, I'm going to need a little help in the aftermath while I ramp up and get the next one going. Are you interested? Are you willing to be there, to be my wingman? And they said yes. And by the time I reached the end of my project, they had changed their minds without letting me know their decision. And so I had put all my eggs in that basket. My bad. I had asked, they had said yes, and they changed their minds. And then I suddenly found myself with no resources at all. It was going to take me the time to ramp up and find them again, as I knew I had just assumed that I had somebody steering the boat for me. They were not there. What I learned from that is that I can't rely completely on other people to have the same passion and commitment as I do about anything, because we are not the same. We are not clones. It doesn't mean they don't love us, and it doesn't mean they don't care. It just means that the priorities in their lives change, just as the priorities in my life change, just like the priorities in your life change. So it means that I can't guide other people for my reasons. I can't tell them the best course of action based on my priorities and preferences. I have to take a step back. If they ask for my opinion, if they ask for my assistance, my guidance, my mentoring, I have to take a step back and say, what is it that you want at the end? For instance, in a book situation, I would say to a client, when our work is done and you have, I'm looking for a book, they're all behind me, and you have the book in your hand, it's published, and all of your friends and neighbors can go on the site where the book lives vicariously, virtually, and order the book. When we're there, when we've reached that place, what do you want that book, that reality, that outcome to do for you? What do you want it to change? How do you want to feel? And they had no idea. Never in any incident when I asked a client, how do you want to feel? Where do you want to be? What do you want happening at the end when the work is done? And there it is. They hadn't even gone there. And by the way, me neither, until I learned that I had to do the work. And even now with Pivotry, I'm still struggling with that end game vision. When somebody says, make a vision board, put up pictures, keywords and phrases, imagine where you want to be. Good, that's very interesting instructions. They don't mean anything if you don't also tell us how to do that. Really? I don't know where I want to be in 5 minutes. Where do you see yourself in 5 years? Are you kidding? I'm a military kid. I don't know. Where haven't I been? Probably there. I don't know. So let's take a hypothetical. The book client says, I want to be recognized as a successful author. Okay, let's write that down. I want to be recognized as a successful author. Let's define the word. We know what an author is. An author is a person who wrote something. And by virtue of having written it, they are now an authority on the subject. Even if it's only the first book and it's only 3 pages long, they are now a 3-page authority on the subject. They're an author. Okay? We know what that is. What is the definition of success? It's very personal. It's very subjective. It's like fame. It's different for everyone. So what is the definition of success? Well, I'm recognized. Okay, but people recognize you already. Oh, hi, John. Okay. Oh, hi, John, famous author. Is that it? No, I want to be successful author. What's the difference? I make a lot of money. Ah, so you want the sale of the book. You want people buying it is the outcome. Because if they buy it, then the money comes to you. And if making money and being able to say tangibly, here's a whole bunch more money in my bank account than I had before, if the definition of success with your book is that people bought it, okay, then we also figure out what to do, what to say, how to make it look, that will happen. It's a function of curiosity. It's a function of the language that invites them to say, really? gosh. Oh, okay. How much is it? It's that. If you want to be a successful author because they read it, whether they Googled it and they found the key word phrase that opened their eyes to the mysteries of the universe, that's a different thing. It doesn't mean the same. It doesn't mean that they bought it, that you got money. If successful means they read it and they understood it, and it shifted something in them, it's a different definition entirely, isn't it? So if that's the case, if that's the definition, if what you want is that outcome, now we have to pay a lot closer attention to the way we're wording your message. Because it can't just be the way you hear it. We have to word it in a way, or in many ways, so that other people can hear it. They can say, oh, which means that we have to think about how we translate what we're saying so it has an impact on those people we're targeting. So the translation process goes like this. When I say chocolate, I think, ooh, dark chocolate in the freezer. Take out a little piece, put it on your tongue, let it melt, and let the flavor explode in my head. That's what I think when I see the word or say the word chocolate. For somebody who gets a migraine headache from chocolate, when they see the word chocolate, they immediately think of turning off the lights, getting a cool cloth, lying down in the bed, and please everybody go away and don't make a lot of noise. Totally different reaction to the word, right? Okay. So if I was going to talk about fabulous recipes, including chocolate, I wouldn't be targeting the migraine community, would I? If I say, and this is a thing that book clients do all the time, if I say, who is your ideal reader? They say, everybody needs to read this book. No, they don't. Not everybody. The migraine people don't want to read a book on chocolate. Just seeing the word makes them feel awful. So it isn't everybody. And if you write the word chocolate and somebody speaks Urdu and they don't know what it is in English, it means that you needed to translate it into Urdu so they could understand it. So you needed a translator, because everybody doesn't see it the way we see it. And the book client goes, oh, well, I still think that everybody. Of course you do. Of course you do, because you're looking at it through your eyes and your filters and your experience, and you have written it as the answer to what is bothering you. So of course you feel it's universal. Perfectly normal. So with that said, this moment, this conversation that I had, I don't know why they keep doing this. Their lives would be so much easier if they just. And then what the person does, me included, all of us, we then explain the thing that makes us happy. I don't know why Abby resists hiking up the sides of mountains. If only she. Okay, so there's two reasons Abby resists hiking up the sides of mountains. One is that when she's up high and looks down, she throws up. And the other is, it's not the falling so much, although the terror and the uncertainty of how long you're going to be falling, it's the knowing how painful it's going to be when you stop. It's the part that's really unpleasant. So do those override the sheer joy of clawing your way up a cliff? Oh yeah. Do I love the challenge of flinging something and hammering it into a piece of rock and looping a rope through it, hauling myself up to the next place? Yeah, I find that gets old very quickly. It's not me. It doesn't mean that it isn't a great thing for somebody else. But if somebody said to me, okay, if I told you that the challenge I love in assessing where to hammer in that foo-foo thingy is so all-encompassing that I feel adrenaline rushing. I feel the intensity of figuring out where to do it. When I pull the hammer out of my thing and I go ponkata ponkata ponkata, and then I pull on it and it's solid and it holds, I have this rush of, alrighty then. And then the care and the practice that I use, the skill that I've developed over many, many practices to get gooder in looping the rope the right way and tying the knot the right way and yoinking on it to make sure I got it. Being able to invest and trust my expertise fills me with pride. And then when I do the actual climb to the next level, the exertion, the full on commitment and intensity, it's like a laser focus. It makes me feel alive. Now, if somebody explained that to me that way, I would be able to understand what they were saying and how they were feeling. Because I have the ability to associate every one of those feelings, every one of those sensations with something that I've felt in my life doing my things. The focus, the intensity, the skill, the determination, the adrenaline, the commitment, all of that. Yeah, I don't get that on the side of a mountain. I get that where I live. I get that with my work. And I don't have to condescend to them and say, oh, so you mean climbing a mountain is like me doing this? I don't have to do that. I don't have to render their unique story and say, oh, but what you really mean is this. No, what they really mean is what they said to you. What they really mean is they want you because they care about you. They love you. They want you to hear them. They want you to respect it without judgment. And the reason the emotion words work is that emotions are universal. They're bigger than the tangible, specific event. We don't have to live in the Serengeti and race like everything to stay one step ahead of the hungry predator to know the meaning of survival. We don't have to do that. Thank God. We can find it in other ways. But if someone says, survival is, no, but if somebody says, my heart pounding, feeling, smelling, hearing the sensation of the hot breath, the pounding of the feet in the dirt behind me, the way it vibrated the ground, and I could feel the vibration coming up through my own feet, knowing that I was one step ahead. Okay, I can equate that to something I have felt. Missing impact in a car accident by much. Same thing. Any number of illustrations we care to come up with, so that we can hear and feel and sense and sympathize and empathize and understand and connect with someone whose life is nothing like ours, without getting so specific and rendering it down so that it sounds like ours. We were in aisle 6, and I had six cases, and I thought, yeah, aisle six cases. Anyway, I don't care. When you're writing a book and it says, at the corner of Walk and Wait at 10:30 on Thursday. Okay, but I don't live in a city. I live in the country. There is no walk, wait. There is no corner. And we don't have clocks. And we don't really think of days in terms of the words you use. So can you change that? Yes, I was at a crossroads. It was early in the day. Period. It was dark. It was light. I felt the hot breath behind me. You see, when we can get away from the absolute tangible thing that is ours to own, and we pivot to be able to recognize that someone else sees it differently. They don't necessarily feel it differently, but they see it differently. If we can recognize that they feel it differently, see it differently, then we can respect that they feel it differently. It's all we have to do. So in the conversation with someone who is trying to raise a difficult child, in the conversation with a teacher who's trying to maintain some semblance of order in the midst of chaos, in my situation, I have three things going on that are dependent on each other. I have a project called Pivotry in motion. Pivotry is a concept I have that people have forgotten how good they are at recognizing their ability to own their moment. The reason they've forgotten how good they are is because they've been distracted by way too many things for far too long. They have convinced themselves that they can multitask to fix all of them at the same time, and it has not yet occurred to them completely that that is wrong. And so they are so far down the path of it's not working that they're ready to give up. So they're either exhausted and depressed or fearful and angry. They're either apathetic, lying face down on the kitchen floor, or they're yelling at strangers, "You're not the boss of me." Either way, they're not moving forward. Either way, they're not happy. And they don't know why. And the longer it goes on, the worse it gets, and the more permanent the trauma. I know the solution. And I want to present that solution to anyone who needs to hear it. Not to everyone, just the ones who need to hear it. That's part of my three-part situation. The second part is that I am a performer. I'm an entertainer. Comedy is my medium. I want to tell a story that's funny to illustrate something important. Because while you're laughing, the important thing goes to live in a good place. And that way, when you remember it, when you pull out that tool that you've learned how to use, you're also smiling because it lives in a good place. And so in order for me to do that thing I do, I need to have a show. So I've created a show. It's a wonderful show. The content is a riot. I love it. It's crazy. It's amazing. I am in the moment figuring out two things. The first one is where to perform it. I think I have an idea. And the second thing is who to perform it to and for and why. So those are the uncertains. The third one that is uncertain is the vision of what it looks like when I reach that place. I have the show, I have Pivotry, I have all the tools, I have you in the seats, I have everybody ready and willing and able. What happens next? What is the next thing we sign up for? What is the next thing we lean in to do? How do we do it? What platform? That is still kind of hazy in the distance. So all of these things, as each one becomes a little more clear, the next two become a little more clear. When I did Fanaticon this year, I was testing the water. Every single one of you who came to the booth, you saw me being funny. You saw yourself engaging in the process. All the pictures that I'm still downloading, I'm sorry it's taking a long time. There's so many and they're so good. All the pictures are the proof that you showed up because you wanted to and you were ready. And we had the best time and you were laughing. And when you had your aha moments and you're feeling good, the next thing that happened is something you'll never forget. Whatever it was that I said, whatever it was that we did, whatever the conversation that you had with Amy on the video camera is going to stay with you in a good place. And then the question is, and then what happened? I didn't keep track of everybody who left. I didn't say, come back in an hour and tell me how you feel. I don't know what the outcome is. I haven't reached out to ask. That's on the list. And when I do this homework every time, I learn something incredibly valuable. And I'm going to give you another story, another illustration of it. When I moved into this beautiful, lovely, can't think of the word, how amazing it is, new place that I'm living, I bought a bed. The bed turned out to be incredible. It's comfortable, exactly to my liking. Everything about the way I've fixed it up and accessorized it is exactly to my liking. And every night, at the end of the day, when I go to bed and I get in bed, I lie there for a second and I say, oh, this is great. This is perfect. Thank you. And every morning when I wake up, every time I wake up in the middle of the night, and I get back in bed, same thing. Oh, in the morning. Am I grumbling that I have to get up? No, because every other room in the apartment, look at this office. How could I not just absolutely love being in this room? They're all good. I've taken the time and the trouble to decorate them in a way that when I walk into the room, I stop in the doorway and I say, thank you. Because I knew at the outset that what I wanted in my hand at the end was this. I wanted these colors. I wanted these elements. I wanted silly hats and crazy shoes and an on the air sign, wherever it is, there it is. And my ridiculous sneakies. My flamingo hood ornament is on its way. It'll be here soon too. I wanted to feel all the happiness and all the, I made it. I'm here. Let's do this. And that's how I decorated each room. I began with my end in mind. So the subject today on the video that is really important for our peace of mind and the peace of mind of everybody else that we keep telling, this is what you should be doing, is this. Find out their why. You know how to find out somebody's why? I'll tell you. It's crazy simple. I was talking to my favorite child a week ago. My favorite surrogate child. And he said, you know, it's incredible how simple things are. And it's crazy how we complicate them. And I said, that is a fact. He said, I mean, it's so simple. Even the word simple is too complicated. So the simple way to find out what people want and what triggers them and motivates them is to turn down the volume. Don't listen to what they're saying. Watch what they're doing. Sit back and watch and do this cause and effect thing. What makes them smile? And I don't mean I mean, that smile, that smile. What makes them smile? Just watch them. You'll see it. Something makes them smile. Sometimes the smile isn't as physically obvious, but you can see the set of their shoulders. You can see the tension. You can see the relaxed muscles. And you can actually feel from the way they're breathing, just the physical way they're moving, you can see that they're not on edge. They're not like this. You can see from the look in their eyes that they're good. This is working. Even if it's not the kind of smile you would smile. So when you see the outcome, the next thing you do is you take a step back. Eye is good. Take a step back, physically if you can. So that you're not just looking at them up close in a tight shot. And I don't mean a wide shot where we can see all the horses on the plains running by behind him, but you can see what is triggering them. You can see it. You can see the behavior of someone else. You can see the outcome of something. You can see that they're fastening a parachute and they're about to get into a perfectly good airplane and then leap out of it. But you don't like climbing mountains and you don't want to leap out of a perfectly good airplane. What do you like? If we can see when they're happy and we can see what is happening that appears to be creating that effect, we know what makes them tick. It's not us. It's not the thing that makes us tick, usually. You see the plane, you see the parachute, you see all these people, and you see the bridge and you see the bungee cord, and you see people lining up, and you see somebody having the bungee cord attached to their ankle. Me. Them. Okay. What is it that triggers their happy place? Bungee jumping, out of airplanes, sides of mountains, shopping. No. That's a thing. What is the emotion? What is the feeling? Look at them. Look at that. Is it adrenaline? Is it serenity? Is it peace? Is it connection? Is it togetherness? Is it isolation? Is it hard work? Is it passion? What is it? Know that and then honor that. Know that, honor that. No judgments, no questions asked. You have permission to say, not me though, I will cheer you from afar. Know what moves them and honor it. And do not invest your valuable time in trying to understand why. It doesn't matter why. It matters that it matters to them. And honor that. Now, if what they do trespasses on you, you have every right to say, boundaries. I honor you. I merely request that you honor me. And the analogy that I was giving my friend was this. When we buy a car, and we drive someplace where there's a lot of traffic, uh, and we need to get out of the car and go and do something, we need to find a place to put the car, park it. Okay. And if we just park it anywhere, and there's 1,000 of us, and everybody, all 1,000 of us, just park the car anywhere, then we have a problem. If the location sets out guidelines, the people who manage the location say, park here, park here, park here. And if you don't, then there has to be some sort of penalty. Otherwise, people will say, yeah, sure. Park anywhere. So in order for people to abide by the rule, those people who are rebels at heart, there has to be a consequence if they don't. Why don't you want to park where it's considerate for everybody else is a waste of time. It's a waste of your time, and it's a waste of their time. It does not matter in the efficient management of the parking facility. And indulging in the why and the recriminations and the finger pointing is a stalling tactic so that we don't move forward. The person who is a rebel will engage you in that argument long enough so that they don't have to move their car. So if it's not, the bottom line in this video this morning is this: as we pivot, because what was not that bad is suddenly not good enough, we change. The people around us didn't change. We change. That causes the utmost damned astonishment. That makes other people nervous, upset, confused, and they don't like it. So they make it difficult for us to do this pivot. They keep saying, wait a minute. Okay, but in the meantime, we're changing. If what we say to people is, I'm not really happy with this. Why not? I'm not really happy with this. Doesn't really matter why not. Not really happy with this. So I'm going to look at a way that I can either keep doing this or do something else so that I can be happy. I'm letting you know. No. Not happy with this. I'm going to look at a way to change it in some way. I don't know what the outcome is. I'm just letting you know. That's considerate. If you say to someone, okay, increasingly what you're doing is trespassing on my boundaries, and I don't like it. And I have put up with it because I care about you. But now it's reached a point for me that caring about you and allowing you to do that is costing me more than I'm willing to pay. I am not going to sacrifice my peace of mind any longer because this is now, it's not that bad. Oh yeah, it's that bad. It is definitely not good enough. So this is what I'm going to do. You can do what you want because of course you will. You can. It's you. But this is what I'm going to do. And then you say what you're going to do. I'm going to give myself some distance to think about it. And I just wanted you to know because I care about you. Well, if you cared about me, you wouldn't change. Nope, not true. If I cared about you, I would tell you that I'm not happy and I need to change. I'm not happy. Whether it has anything to do with you or not, I'm not sure. All I know is the effect on me isn't working for me. So I need to go away and find out what to do. And that's what I'm going to do. And I'm telling you because I care about you. Uncertain? Yeah. Scary? Yeah. Change is hard when we didn't think of it. If we let things go on long enough, it is a horrible shock. If we say at the very beginning, could you not do that? And it's no big deal. There is no upheaval. But at the beginning, we say, oh, you know what? It's not that bad. And we let it slide. Right? We all do it. And then one day, kaboom, and everybody's upset. Talking about having surprises land on you. A friend of mine discovered that the relationship she was in was no longer the relationship she had been in, because the other person in the relationship had changed the rules. So something was different now, and she didn't like it. And she was focused on the fact that something was different, and she didn't like it. And I said, what is it that you don't like? And she said, it's not about the two of us anymore. And I said, really? And she said, no. Because when it was about the two of us, we talked about the things that we were planning to do, thinking about. What do you feel like for supper? I don't know. Feel like seafood? I feel like seafood. Oh, seafood. Yeah. But you know what? I've got kind of a craving. Something spicy. We could find something with a spicy sauce on the seafood. Oh, okay. That's togetherness. That's planning it together. That was the relationship. Here was the change in the relationship. She was thinking about supper, thinking about something to eat, trying to figure out what she felt like, wondering what her partner would feel like. Here's the car. Here's the car stop. Footsteps coming up. Door open. And in walks partner, carrying takeout. One bag for them. What's that? I felt like getting a cheeseburger on the way home. So I stopped. Well, why didn't you call me? Why would I call you? I felt like a cheeseburger. Well, but it's supper time, and what if I wanted a cheeseburger? He said, well, if you wanted a cheeseburger, you could have called me and said, listen, on the way home, get me a cheeseburger. Okay. No. If we're thinking together about each other in a relationship, and on the way home, you felt like a cheeseburger, and we were still together in the relationship, it would have probably, assuming that we were together, you would say, I wonder if she wants a cheeseburger, and you would call me. Meanwhile, I'm waiting for the kind of thing we used to do, which is you'd get home and we'd discuss it. Something changed, and you changed it by yourself without me. So there has been a shift in the way we are together in our thinking process. So are you angry with me that I stopped to get a cheeseburger? No. No. Are you angry with me that I stopped to get a cheeseburger without talking to you? No. No. Well, what's upsetting you? Okay, so anger is a function of fear. And I'm not feeling happy because I don't feel safe, because our relationship has changed and we are together in a different way without any warning. And it surprised me. And I don't know what to do, how to fix it. That's the problem. That's my problem. What's the right answer to that? I don't know. Honestly, I don't know. I'm sorry you feel that way. That's not helping. I'm even more isolated. Oh, honey, I'm so sorry. It never occurred to me. I was so preoccupied at work. I just wasn't thinking. Yeah. It won't happen again. Yes, it will. No, it won't. Yes, it will. Because some part of your decision-making process has begun to work without considering me automatically. Something has changed. So I have to be ready and willing and able to live with that, to prepare myself, to find myself feeling safe within this new definition. Or I have to decide that this new definition doesn't suit me. Now that's pretty shallow, and it's pretty simplistic, and it's pretty mundane. But this is the point that I want to make today. The people we allow into our inner circle, the people we choose to feel safe with, our tribe, our group that we think of as people like us. This is how we get through each day. This is how we have gotten through each day since the beginning of time. We are a tribe. We live in a cave. Together we are strong. That's the way life is. When some member of the tribe decides to break out on their own to do it a different way, even if they say, hey, heads up, tribe, I was thinking about this, so that's what I'm going to do, and I just wanted to let you know. They're still going to do it? Okay. Then the tribe, us in particular, have to decide to let go of the need to control. It means the definition of our tribe has shifted. We are evolving. We are some other kind of tribe. Do we still want to belong? That's up to us. When we raise a child, when we get a pet, when we build a house, when we buy a car, anything we invest in that becomes part of us and it's integral to us, and we rely on it and we admire it and we are proud of it. When things change, every time something changes, every time something evolves, we have the freedom to choose how we feel. We can't always control it. All of a sudden you realize there's rust on the car. Well, it's made of metal. It's out there in the elements. What are we going to do? What are we going to do about it? We can't eliminate the existence of rust. Can we repair it? Yes. Can we have it repaired? Yes. Is it going to cost something? Yes. Can we afford it? Up to us. Are we okay that it's no longer the way it was when we first got it? Up to us. Are we willing to allow it to be aging and changing and becoming something else? Up to us. Do we have an anxious feeling that we can no longer control it? Up to us. So the conversations that I've suddenly been having with people since that fabulous FanaticCon event suddenly is about how we control how we feel leaning in, and how much freedom we feel confident enough to give to other people in our circle to lean in the way they lean in. And if the way they lean in trespasses our boundaries, how we deal with that, how we recognize it's not ours to own the way they do it. It's ours to protect ourselves from the discomfort, from the fear, from the confusion, from the negative outcome without judgment. You want to leap out of perfectly good airplanes and scare me half to death? They can't stop me from being scared. It's up to me to say, I need to own my fear, my insecurity, my what if. I need to own that. I need to let them know. They need to respect it. But if they need to jump out of that plane, then I have to let go of that need to control the outcome. It's tough work, right? The thing is, as my favorite child said, it's pretty simple, really. There is only one person we have any control of, and it's us. Everything else is positioning. Further, closer, higher, lower, brighter, darker. Everything else is just in comparison. That's it. We can't make them live the way we want them to live. We can teach rules. While you are in my house, this. While you attend this school, that. While you work at this company, the other. While you park a car, here, this. And they get to choose if they wish to follow or not. And if they don't, we get to choose what we do. So the title of this, if it's not the what that we have in common, it's the why that we share. Why do you jump out of a perfectly good airplane? Because it makes me feel good. Oh, in what way? The adrenaline rush. Oh, pause. Think of your own adrenaline rush. Okay, so their airplane jump, their yee-haw, is the same as my walk out on stage and make them laugh. Got it. That's all I need. Have a great time. Have a great time. Call me and let me know how it went. Same to you. Have a good show. See how simple it is? If it's not the what, it's the why that we share. How cool is that? And I didn't even think of all of that. It was all of my friends, all of my family, all of my people, all of the fans, all of the people who said, you know what, Abby's over there. I'm going to go and join her. I'm going to be part of that. I'm in the mood for that today. It's all of you. It's all of thee that brought me that idea and gave me the opportunity to share it. How cool. Okay, so that's it for Thor's Day today. This weekend, you know what? I've had this pile of stuff, things I must do, things I must do, things I must do, and the pile is getting really low. And as the pile is getting low, I'm having more and more time to think about these outcomes of these 3 things that I'm doing and building and creating and changing. And it won't be long. So this weekend, I got a bunch of exciting things that I need to go through. And I hope you do too. I hope you do too. I hope the weather's great where you are. I hope the people are not being too ridiculously crazy where you are. And if they are, you have permission to give yourself some distance so you can breathe. And if they say, what are you doing? Say, I was talking to Mom the other day. She says, I deserve a timeout. It's not, you need a timeout, young man. It's, you need a timeout, honey. You need to get some space and breathe and do it your way. Timeout. And let people do whatever they're doing over there. It's a whole new definition of timeout. And so I will see you next week. Same time, same space. And until then, you know the drill. Be good to you. You are so worth it. And remember to hug your loved ones. Thanks for watching.